turned out. We had a good turnout. Last Friday, your state directors met with Dr. Andy Schwartz, head of the Animal Health Commission. He gave us about an hour and a half long program on different things that are going on in Texas. The main thing was fever ticks. We've got, the good news is that we had a fever tick outbreak in Jim Wells County near Alice. After about 2-year period, those premises cleaned up. The deer cleaned up. We got them ivermectin corn 2 seasons in a row, and we haven't had any more fever ticks there, so they're getting ready to release that. The outbreak in Live Oak County, around Three Rivers, around the Selborne there, they think they've pretty much contained it, and that hopefully this next year they'll be able to release it. Part of the problem is that not everybody that's in that circle has cattle. They have deer and they hunt deer, and those deer have to be brought in and scraped to see if they have any ticks on them when they kill them. But in the meantime, they've been feeding ivermectin treated corn to them, but not during the season. We have to stop because we don't want anybody to eat deer that's eating ivermectin corn and maybe get wormed in the process. So, but they do use ivermectin in Africa for some little worm that gets in people's eyes that causes blindness, but we won't go there. One of the major problems they've got is north of Brownsville along the coast, the Laguna Madre, there are several U.S. Fish and Game wildlife refuges. They have birds, they have several endangered species, one of them being the ocelot. Not sure how we got it, but it's there, and because of it, there's very limited things they can do. You also have the whooping crane in that area. And so you've got this 200,000 acre strip along the coastline that is full of deer carrying fever ticks, nilgai, which really carried the fever ticks, and there's no way to control them because, number one, they wouldn't let us feed ivermectin corn. They wouldn't let us kill the nilgai to get rid of them, even though they are a feral species from India that migrated up from Mexico, bringing the fever ticks. And then you know, the ranchers all along there have all got fever ticks now, and they're dipping every 2 weeks, or they're bringing them in and worming them every 2 weeks, or every month, or 24 to 28 days. But you know, to gather your cattle in some of this brush country, it's not like we do and just go out and, you know, honk the horn, the cows come in the pen. They're having to use helicopters, horses, dogs, whatever to get the cattle in, and it's expensive. And there's a USDA program that pays you $2 or $3 a head to get the animals in. When you have 100 head and you get $200, and the helicopter guy says, well, my bill's $1,200, you can see who has to pay. But it's a real problem. We finally got them to APHIS through USDA and the Fish and Game and EPA. They had to get in there too. And we did a study on would ivermectin treated corn hurt any of the endangered species. It didn't. Everything was fine. And they also developed a system to get the it's a Promethean. Yeah. Anyway, that's what, something like that. It's what we spray the roaches with. But anyway, won't kill fire ants. But anyway, they have nilgai are interesting. They defecate in a certain spot all the time. They go there, they poop, and they leave. And so somebody has developed a ring of little tubing that goes around that poop place, and it has a motion sensor. And when the nilgai come up there to go to the bathroom, it triggers that motion sensor and it sprays them with insecticide. So technology is out there, you know, besides flip phones, we're getting there. Now, it'll probably only work once to the first nilgai that does it, and then he'll go back and tell all the others, man, don't go there. He got some stinky stuff on. But, you know, we're making progress. We just sent a 5-page letter to USDA, APHIS, over this rule. And the rule, we're asking them to expand the rule to allow hunting in the area so we can get the nilgai out of there, to be able to feed corn to the white-tailed deer in the area, and also to figure out a way to control the nilgai. Now, the best way to control nilgai is to get up in a helicopter with an assault rifle and fly around and kill every one of them. But they're not quite ready for that yet. Another way is to do prescribed burns, and the prescribed burns work really good. And out of 200,000 acres last year, we finally got them to do 26,000 acres. They were going to do it anyway, but we took credit for it. But if you want some great reading, go to the U.S. Federal Register, look up, I think it's 4904 rule, and you'll see our comments in there. And I had a lot of help in writing them. I'm definitely not as smart as what we said there, but I had to sign it. Other than that, we've got, let's see, we have scholarships at the state level. If you'll go to our website and look up the Stephanie Sklar Scholarship Program, you don't have to be going into agriculture to get that scholarship. You have to be either your parents, your grandparents, or be a junior member in order to qualify for at least 1 year. We get about 20 applications a year from around the state, and last year we gave 8 scholarships. We used to give more money and less scholarships, but now we give $500 scholarships, and we can give more people. And you don't have to go to A&M to get one. But since I went there, it doesn't hurt because I'm on the judging committee. At our meeting, we also talked about country of origin labeling. I'll let you know that Colorado has a bill in their state legislature that would require country of origin labeling, and to be labeled U.S., it has to be born, raised, and processed in the United States. That bill is getting a lot of conversation in Colorado. Of course, the packers and the feeders are against it, but Colorado is a very food-conscious state. You know, if you think of Colorado about being ranchers and hunters and people that live out in the country and drive old Jeeps, they're not like that. Colorado is very, very liberal, but they're very concerned about what they eat. There is a lot of tofu sold in Colorado. There's a lot of vegetarians in Colorado, but the people that do eat meat are concerned about where it comes from, and there's no antibiotics or you know, all natural, organic, whatever. But if they want to put cool in, we're going to be all for them. So we'll see what happens. I think they're going to try to take the vote this next week. I'm not sure it'll get voted on. There's a lot of money against it from the Packer side. But that's kind of where we are. Anytime you have a question or anything, just call the office. I always like when our members call, but I can always tell when my non-members call. People, they look, Google Cattle Association and they get me. And they ask things like, my neighbor's cow is in my place, can I shoot it? No. My neighbor's cow had a calf on my place. Can I sell that calf? No. I mean, you know, it's, you know, and then they say, well, the cattle are getting in on my place. Isn't it my neighbor's responsibility? And then you have to go through the deal, well, are you an open range or a closed range county? Well, I don't know. Well, go down to the county clerks or ask the sheriff, and they will probably can tell you. You're probably closed range, which means that your neighbor has to keep his cattle in. And then, you know, questions like, should I split the cost of the fence with my neighbor? Or somebody calls and says, I have a 40-acre place, and of course I live on it, and I have about 15 acres of it I would like to lease for grazing. How much should I charge? Well, you know, in LaGrange, that's nice country. In Jasper, it's pine trees and pine needles. In Sonora, it's rocks and dirt and cactus. So, I mean, but they want to know, you know, and how many cattle, I said, go to your county extension agent. So I do defer on a lot of those. But anyway, anytime you have a question, give me a call at the office. this is a slow time. We're going up twice a week to meet the new candidates for all the state legislature. Mostly it's in the state house. They're all running again. So, and you know, when we see 4 or 5 candidates for each place, they all come into ag councils, all the ag groups, and they all wear their boots that day, or they go buy a pair. They tell us about how their grandfather had a farm and they used to go out there and really enjoy it, or they tell us that their son works for HEB and he's in the meat section or something. But you know, it's interesting. They're willing to tell you whatever it takes to get elected. You know, they're for eminent domain. They're making sure that it's your water, but they also realize that probably 80% of the voters in their district are in San Antonio, or in Austin, or Dallas, or Houston, because almost every one of the districts will go into one of those metropolitan areas to pick up the numbers, because they have to have so many people within the area. But and they're all have their hands out because this is a good time to raise funds. ICA, we don't have a PAC, so we don't give them money, and we don't endorse. So I sit there and ask them hard questions, and sometimes they have the right answer, sometimes they don't know the answer. But there's quite a few people running, and I don't know why in the hell they'd want to be a state legislature, but I'm proud somebody's doing it. But thank you all, and if you have any questions, and I hope it rains next week.